it really means a lot after the last 2 years to have people gathering. And I know that for many people that's still not a comfortable thing. But we still gather as we can. And the fact that this is also being shared on Zoom is a way to keep that gathering for people who don't quite feel ready yet to be here. Well, I'm going to read to you part of a story. When I was a much younger reader and writer, I was just infatuated with the stories of Barry Lopez. And one of the devices that, yeah, look at that, you're right, absolutely, may he rest in peace. One of the things that he does a lot is often as a story builds to the climax, one of the characters will bust out a little story within the larger story, an anecdote. And the anecdote is the climax of the story. And that just has been so internalized. I use that device a lot. But then I notice other writers have used it. Hemingway uses it every now and then. Isaac Babel uses it quite often in his Odessa stories. Speaking of contemporary issues, currently under attack in Ukraine. But the story that I'm going to read to you is one of those little stories within the larger story. And they work great for readings because they are shorter. They're shorter than the entire 20-page story. This story, just sort of content alert, contains a description of sex. Awkward, failed, miserable teenage sex, but it's going to be there. And maybe we've all been there too. And the main character narrating is a teenage boy, and he has finally secured a date with the girl of his dreams, who's named Nayanapreet Kaur, which is a Sikh name in the Punjabi language. Okay, and the name of the story is It Is Arranged. There would be 3 salient phases to my date with Nayanapreet Kaur. 1, Nayanapreet entering the room. She was dolled up in Indian finery, a pink sari, shimmering makeup, gold jewelry. You would convert to Sikhism for such a girl. Her jewelry included a pink gem affixed to her forehead, a nose ring tethered to a slender gold cord that tucked behind her ear, golden arm cuffs and large earrings, clusters of gold beads that tugged at her earlobes and looked truly painful. Henna stained her hands. She passed in front of the window, becoming a silhouette, her legs outlined by glowing silk. Then she walked beyond the window, her silhouette dissolving into silk again. She stepped up to me, near as heat, and we plunged into kissing, reckless, hard, devouring kisses. Her jewelry jingled. We kissed so long we had to gasp for breath before locking our lips again. During one breath, Nayanapreet's voice made a soft cry. I wondered how to undo her flowing sari, her nose ring, the gold cords braided into her hair. It was an increasingly complicated terrain. At the far off clicking of tiles on At the far off clicking of heels on tile, Nayanapreet pushed away from me. She smoothed her hair, straightened her sari, silenced her jingling gold. She ran a fingertip along the edge of her lips. I wiped pink lipstick from my lips. I tried to fan the jasmine scent from my shirt. I was breathless. I was not the same person I had been seconds ago. And this began the second phase of the date. Nayanapreet's mom came in the room. She was dressed equally fine in silk and gold. Nayanapreet explained that they had been to a Sikh wedding, which is a mourning affair, and they had just come home, hadn't even closed the door. Nayanapreet introduced me to her mom. I faced her mom and extended my hand. I was aware of pink lipstick smudged on the side of my thumb. I said, "How do you do?" The mom ignored my hand. She said something in Punjabi to Nayanapreet, and Nayanapreet snapped back at her. I said, "What did your mom say?" She said, "Now you know what you can never have." We sat at the dining room table. unpacked book bags, and began to integrate calculus equations. Now, calculus rendered its elegant curves. Gridded notebook paper displayed our best attempts. The relative motion of vector objects, angular momentum, the Doppler effect when applied to the shrieking whistle of a passing train, lightness, skimming, flying. At its core, calculus is an act of imagination, trust, letting go of the wheel, but a train always knows where to go. Under the stern gaze of Nayana Preet's mom, under a cloud of Punjabi words that seemed sour and from the sweep of her arm, always directed at me, Nayana Preet and I made what we could of our time. We sat as close as we dared, but the warmth of her arm brushing mine was a fleeting thing. Our dizzying kisses, too, were a memory already fading. Nayana Preet talked out the equations we were trying to integrate, the extra hope in her voice. The lilt could only have been to salvage her feelings for me. I kept my voice contained because it only would have expressed my terror. I broke the lead of my pencil, pressing so hard. The lilt in Nayana Preet's voice broke with pain. And here began the third most salient phase of the date, the moment when my life turned. The mom said to her daughter in perfect, if accented English, Nayana Preet, would you fetch me a glass of water? Yes, Mama. A nice, tall drink of water. Take your time. Nayana Preet glared at her. Deep brown eyes began to glisten with tears. Off you go now, Scoot. She rose and turned to go. I felt the breeze of her sari as she passed. She stomped into the kitchen. I heard glassware being shoved around. Her mom said, easy in there. More noise. Punjabi words were flung into the kitchen, and Punjabi words came clattering back. The mom turned to me. She is a silly girl, and I love her. But now I need you to listen to me. I have never hidden myself behind vague longings. And so this is a story. This story is no secret that I harbor. I will tell you that in my life I have not been happy, but I could have been. I don't mind saying so. More dishes were clattering. The mom said, listen, when I grew up in the Punjab, my father was a beekeeper. He kept his hives on a wagon, and he fertilized all the apricot trees in the valley. After the trees were done, he seeded a cover crop in the orchards, tiny flowers blooming, millions of bees at work. If you sneaked into the orchards with a boy, trampling the flowers beneath the trees, the story of your affair was plain to see. She said, those were troubled days. My father hoped for no rain, flowers that would bloom with no mold. My father worried about rain, and he took it out on me and my sisters, or, if we were lucky, on my mom. Staring at clouds that roiled like stormy thoughts, he cried, not yet, not yet. Then the flowers went to seed and died, and the apricot trees could sleep for a year, dreaming of their beauty, and the rains would be welcomed again. You could trample across the flowers like pebbles in a sidewalk, and your father's fists unclenched. Now, I was going to interject that my dad had grown up on an orchard too, but she interrupted. No, you listen to me. My parents had 3 daughters, each of us beautiful. I don't mind saying this. We were as beautiful as my precious daughter that you have seen here. So of course, boys made trouble for my father. But what did boys know about girls? As a prank, they came one night and turned over the wagon carrying the hives. Now this is a stupid thing to do. Who would fertilize the trees anymore? The boys ran, and this was simply fearful, as the bees at night were quite docile. My father fixed the hives, fertilized the trees, and when the season was done, he sold honey to those families. He made his beautiful daughters go with him door to door, plump jars of honey in our arms. The boys could have the honey, but they couldn't have the girls. Such things were carefully arranged. Boys would have to wait. Let them retreat to their magazines of American girls. Let them kiss the pictures and do more, if they knew how. Their kitchen was silent now. The mom went on, here is what will happen. One evening, soon, my husband and I will dress to go out, maybe to catch a movie. Did you know that he and I do nothing together anymore? Of course you didn't. Nyanaprit will call you as soon as we leave the house. She will wear her hair loose and easy to undo, maybe a blouse that is likewise easy. Be aware that a girl's blouse is unbuttoned in the opposite direction from a boy's shirt. The two of you will leave in your father's car, which you will have borrowed for the evening. Where you go is up to you, but make it a private place, please, perhaps beneath a tree. You will park the car and begin the ungraceful thing. In your clothes, faces turned, God forbid you should actually see forgiveness in each other's eyes. You will experience the confusion of beginners, knowing that each of you has a part to play, for you've seen the movies in health class. You've read the stories in those insipid magazines. You know how the parts fit together, but not really. The older boys may have told you tales, exaggerated conquests, and in their lies, they have set the bar so high you are afraid of getting it wrong, of being laughed at. All you pray for is to not go soft. That is the greatest fear, yes? But for you, a worse fear will be realized. You will discharge, what is the word, your bodily fluid onto the floor of your dad's car, onto my daughter's blouse, onto her long hair, premature, disgusting, botched. This is how you will not get my beautiful girl. It is arranged that you'll never get her after how badly this goes. A bungled thing is not a thing at all. The failure will toxify the romance. So when my daughter says, I want to go home, take her there. This is when you're supposed to hold hands, saying nothing, driving down the road, thinking of her hand in yours as though that soft hand held the world. But your hands will not be touching. The distance between you will be sealed. Maybe you'll get stuck at that infernal train crossing below the neighborhood. Maybe it will be the long train, one of those coal trains that run at night. And you'll think to yourself, this train lasted long enough to have fucked my girl. But that possibility expired a long time ago. When you come to the house, ask her, another time? And she'll say something like, I'll have to ask my mom first. It will be an easy way of saying no, God bless her. Nyanaprit's mom put her hand on my knee. Maybe she read my stunned expression. She said, listen, I'm not stupid. I'm not giving her away. This is no arrangement. I simply know that you have no idea what you're getting into. You don't know any more than she does. In fact, your ineptitude will sour each of you on the other. She will marry the nice Sikh boy we like. She will never doubt it's the right thing to do. She will never say your name again, not even think it. There will be no regrets. Oh, do not worry. You will have your time. You will learn, or you will learn to lie. Do either of those things and you'll be a man. Just please learn on somebody else's body, not hers. Nyanaprit is infatuated with you. I can see that. I was that way once myself. I don't need to be told. You don't need to hide it from me. I have known longing and happiness, but I know more than you that longing and happiness do not last. Does the girl's body promise the universe to a boy? Our Sikh religion says that a loving couple is two bodies with one soul, but I don't believe that anymore. Nyanaprit's mom left the room for the kitchen. Now where did my tall drink of water go?